Calling all Less Than Jake fans. The second leg of the Summer Circus 2025 is happening soon. We'll be starting out west in Phoenix, Arizona on Friday, July 25th, and taking it all the way through until Saturday, August 16th, where we wrap it all up in Nashville, Tennessee. Join us for a night of rambunctious ska punk music with our friends Fishbone, The Suicide Machine, and Catfight. Grab your tickets now at lessthanjake.com. The Summer Circus 2025 is almost here. Limited VIP tickets are available for each stop as well. Those too can be found at lessthanjake.com. Bring your dancing shoes along with your circus-themed outfits. We can't wait to see you. This episode is brought to you by DistroKid. Hey everyone, today's guest is Fred LeBlanc, lead singer and drummer for the New Orleans, Louisiana rock and roll band Cowboy Mouth. Together we break down the writing, recording, and inspiration behind the hit single, Jenny Says, taken from their 1996 full-length album, Are You With Me? I told Fred that this song, to me, was so ahead of its time. The track originally appeared on the 1989 album, Ace of Clubs, by Fred's former band, Dash Rip Rock, was re-recorded again for the first Cowboy Mouth album, 1992's Word of Mouth, followed by a live recording that became popular at radio, and then this version from 1996. All these versions have one thing in common. Despite being different recordings, they're all virtually the same song. That tells me Fred got it right the first time. And this sound, with its shuffle beat and big driving guitars leading this huge march, can be heard 10 years later on records from everybody from Queens of the Stone Age, Foo Fighters, and Volbeat. Ahead of its time? Maybe. Timeless? Absolutely. Oh, and make sure to listen through to hear which famous Hollywood actress is a huge Cowboy Mouth fan.
Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast.
Fred.
Chris.
New Orleans in the house.
Gainesville, Rock City.
I got to tell you something, Fred. I have been giddy all morning. I did not know that you were, I feel really, really silly about this because I consider myself a music historian, but I did not know you were in Dash Rip Rock.
How dare you not know all of the nuances of my career?
I know.
I'm out. I'm out. To hell with this. Don't you know who I think I am?
I was so stoked to know that, and then I come to find out that you were not in the band. You had already formed Cowboy Mouth by the time Less Than Jake played with Dash Rip Rock, which would have been around 1994. I guess the band was still going. We played at the Cow House in Tallahassee.
I'll be damned.
Yep,
I'll be damned.
We sang your song. We had the CD. I don't know if it was your song or who's in the band, but they had a song called Let's Go Smoke Some Pot.
Well, it's a latest sensation that's sweeping the nation, smoking pot. Let's go. Let's go smoke some pot. Let's go smoke some pot. Let's go smoke some pot.
Well, that was kind of my song and kind of not. What happened was, here's the story that nobody knows about it, right? So I had decided to leave the band in '89, and they were recording shows, just crudely on a cassette recorder, just because how it is. You have an album, it's one way, but the songs continue to morph as performance pieces, and so we were doing this so we could give the new drummer, a guy named Chris Luckett, who great drummer, let him know where the bands were, where the real breaks were, basically where the songs were at the time. And we always just improv'd because we didn't really care. We just were in it to make ourselves entertained and everything. So we were playing this university, we were playing Tulane University, and all the hippie bands started to come back at that time. And us being the snotty little punk rockers we were just like, oh God, not hippies, no. And we just started messing with them. We started messing with these Tulane kids, oh, look, oh, the hippies, oh, yeah. and we were big fans of the American Graffiti soundtrack because it was like 50 songs from the 1950s and early 60s, and it was on constant playing in the band. So we knew the song at the hop. Let's go to the hop.
Oh, yeah.
We knew it like the back of our hands. And so we were playing and making fun of the hippies and everything like that. And I started going, let's go smoke some pot, let's go smoke. And the guitar player turns to me and goes, ooh, okay. So he starts playing the chords. And true to form, when he would do this, Bill Davis, lead guy of Dash, they're still playing, by the way, and they're still
Yep.
kick-ass. Bill is just phenomenal. But anyway, always has been. So he starts playing the chords. I'm thinking, okay, he's got something. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. And at the very last second, he turns to me and goes, you sing it. And I'm like, hanging out with Widespread Panic, smoking pot, blah, 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 just making stuff up. Okay. Only time we ever did it. We didn't even remember it. We weren't even thinking about it after the show. It was a one-time thing. Well, that cassette made it to the new drummer, and he was like, that's really good. We need to play that. We need to actually
Yeah.
play that. And he insisted on making that song on their next album, and it exploded. So, I kind of came up with it, but it was like a band kind of improv thing. So it was like but it turned out to be their biggest hit so far. So there you go.
It was. Less Than Jake definitely rolled down I-10 smoking some grass listening to that song. And listen, don't take this the wrong way. My gosh, tracing the song's history. Okay,
yeah.
Dash Rip Rock cut a version in 1989 on the album. This was your last record with the band, Ace of Clubs. You cut a version of Jenny Says, and then Cowboy Mouth in 92 on the album Word of Mouth. You did a version, and then of course you released a version from the 1996 record that most people know. Are familiar with. Yeah, from the album Are You With Me?
But here's the deal. If you remember back in the 90s when labels would put out albums, sometimes if they latched onto a song but they didn't like the version of it, they just have you go cut it again. Like Jewel recut a lot of her songs.
Sure.
You remember that band, the Verve Pipe, that's on The Freshman?
Uh-huh.
They recut that for radio, which on the one hand was good because they got great versions, but when people would pay like $20 for a CD and get what they wanted to hear, sometimes they didn't get it. It was like,
right.
So the studio version of Jenny Says didn't really do well, and we didn't really have label support, and you've been through that. It's just the politics and BS and all this type of stuff. We had a lot of supporters in the label, but there was one guy everybody bowed to for some reason. I have no idea, and he just didn't want it to happen, and such is life. So what happened was there was a radio guy there, a guy named Skip Bishop, who still does radio, but he's in the country world, and he's very successful. He said, look, if you give me a version of Jenny Says that's like live, that does what you guys do live, I can get it played. I was like, oh, okay, awesome. So we cut a version live at a show in New Orleans with the crowd going nuts. And that was the version that took off. That was the version that was the actual hit. So he lost his job over it, which was a blessing in disguise. But once again, label politics. But that was the one that became a hit for us. It was a live version, and of me kind of doing the rock and roll preacher thing that I do live sometimes. I don't know if you've ever seen this or not.
Oh, I have, and yeah, no, your live performances have been likened to a religious experience. That's not just me. That's not just me saying that. That's the internet, and it's even on your Wikipedia page. But I agree
thank you, Chris.
I agree with that. You are a powerhouse live act, but
back at you, bro. Back at you.
My producer, Chris, he made mention, he said, well, talk about believing in a song. And here a song went through a couple incarnations. Now you got a live version, so you re-recorded it again. And let me tell you something. I went back, the 89 version, the 92, they're pretty much all identical. Lyrics and everything, which tells me the song was right from the first time. But in '89, the world wasn't ready for it. They weren't ready for it in '92, and then '96. You got to think of what was happening. I'll use the term alternative music, grunge, whatever. But listening to this song from '89, do you ever feel like you were so ahead of your time? I hear Queens of the Stone Age. I hear Caius in this. I'm hearing Volbeat in your vocal delivery. I'm hearing all these bands that came later, and I don't even know if Volbeat knows who you are. But my gosh, I would think that they would have had to have heard you.
You never know who hears you. It's been so strange. So it's been a wild ride. Like one time we were playing a show just in it was in Hollywood, and this is like 10 years ago. And who's that actress? Big star. She's a big star. really pretty, very nice, redhead. She was in that Disney movie Enchanted.
Okay, I'm blanking.
Okay, I forget her name.
I'm sure Chris will pop in and tell us.
Chris, do you know who that is?
Is it Amy Adams?
Amy Adams. That's it. Amy Adams. So anyway, we were playing in Hollywood. This is about 10 years ago, and you never know who hears the music or where it goes. And just out of the blue, Amy Adams and her husband showed up at a show. And I'm like, hey, what's up, movie star? And she's like, oh, I'm a huge fan. She came back and visited with us backstage. Couldn't have been nicer. And she told me that when her and her brother left Colorado to go to Hollywood to try to, hit the big time, that they listened to Cowboy Mouth all the way so it would keep them pumped up and enthusiastic throughout the drive. The last time I checked, driving from Colorado to California is a long drive. I would get sick of us. But
That's awesome.
I took it as a compliment. She was very sweet, very sweet.
That's an absolute compliment. Well, Fred, I want to jump into the track. It's 3 minutes and 17 seconds, the intro. It's 4 bars of a lone guitar. Such a great hook. On bar 2, a backwards effect of some kind of creeps in and comes to a crescendo.
That's what they call a piano.
Is that a piano? Okay.
It's just a backwards piano.
It's the same sound, and I was driving me crazy. I'm like, what is this from? It's the same backwards sound that Queen has on Another One Bites the Dust.
Yeah. That was done by Peter Holsapple. He was a guy, he had a band called the DBs. He was in a band called the Continental Drifters.
Oh, yeah.
And he worked with Hootie for a long time. Really, really talented guy. Just a hero of all of ours in the band, and just a great songwriter, great talent.
Well, as that backwards effect comes to a crescendo, the drums, bass, and guitars all hit together. One single hit to take us into verse 1. And the first half here is just vocals and guitar, and then we get the band on the back half, which we'll get into in a second.
Got no reason for the things I fear, the things that plague me when I see and hear. Dime's a nickel and a nickel's none. I'll throw myself into the Sunday sun. A summer Sunday when you went insane. You said you're going, but I said I came. I'm throwing oranges in an apple cart. The ties that bind are tearing me apart. Jenny says,
I got no reason for the things I fear, the things that plague me when I see and hear. A dime's a nickel and a nickel's none. I'll throw myself into the Sunday sun. A summer Sunday when you went insane. You said you're going, but I said I came. I'm throwing oranges in an apple cart. The ties that bind are tearing me apart.
That's pretty good. Well, I was going through a breakup. It was my first girlfriend, whose name was Jenny, and just going through all the emotions. I didn't want to write a song that was just like, hey, boo-hoo me, blah blah blah. For me, it was very much like trying to figure out the emotional landscape of what I was going through in the moment. So it wasn't like this is happening and then this happened A, B. It's more like, what am I going through? It's kind of a dime's a nickel and a nickel's none. Basically everything I thought I had, I didn't. And the ties that bind are tearing me apart. I remember thinking that was a good line.
You know what I love about this? You
What?
can tell you came from the clubs and the bars.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
you're like those acts that they refined their set, and then they got in with a producer and they said, "What songs you got?" And they had all these standards and covers. You wonder why the old acts had so many covers. Well, it became part of their repertoire. And
Yeah.
when I
and they
hear
turned them
this,
into their own.
yeah, and when I hear this track, I love that it didn't change from 89. The song was the song. I love that some producer, and I guess the album was produced, this track by Mike Wanchik. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Mike Wanchik, he was Mellencamp's
Right.
band leader for a long time. Still is, from what I understand. A great guy, a real talent. And here's something about the song that, and this is a big regret of mine because I never got to tell him this. You remember that old Mellencamp song, "Rain on the Scarecrow"?
Of course, yeah.
Dow, 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 dow. I was playing that on guitar one day, and I accidentally slipped and went dow, 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 dow. I fingered it wrong. I was like, wait, that's pretty good. And then let me put a shuffle to it. Down, 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 and there was the riff.
No kidding.
And I never told Mike when he did when he produced the record. It just slipped my mind, but it was like, and he actually played that, so I was like, oh wow, I never got to tell him that. Yeah, but he did a great job. We had an engineer named David Leonard who was really talented. He ended up co-producing the Bare Naked Ladies' big album Stunt about like 5 years later. Talented guys, talented guys.
Well, again, at the top, the first half is just vocal and that guitar. On the second line, The Things That Plague Me When I See and Hear, we get another full band dun single hit. After the line, I'll Throw Myself Into the Sunday Sun. Off to the right, we get a guitar comes in. Yeah. Drums, bass, and a pair of stereo guitars also come in. You know, what the
But the drums are tribal. The drums are tribal.
The drums are total tribal with the tom shuffle there, which it almost sounds like there's a shaker in here, but I think that's the hi-hat that's going.
Yeah, I think it's just a hi-hat because I tend to,
That's so cool. We get a double vocal on the line I Came. It's a double unison lead vocal and also on Tearing Me Apart before we get into what I'm calling this the chorus right now. This first part. And I'm calling the back half the post-chorus.
Okay.
Tearing me apart. Jenny says, turn off the radio. Jenny says, turn off the light. Jenny says, turn off the video. You beat yourself up, bring yourself down. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. When the world is coming down on me, I'll let it go.
Jenny says, turn off the radio. Jenny says, turn off the lights. Jenny says, turn off the video. You beat yourself up to bring yourself down.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah? So you were listening to too much radio. You weren't paying attention to her, it looks like.
No, we weren't paying attention to each other. It was kind of like, nothing you know that feeling when you're kind of in a relationship that's going sour, nothing you do is right,
Oh, yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. Once again, this song wasn't about the person, Jenny, as much as it was my mindset in those moments.
And what an emotion here that you're singing with, though. This isn't faked. I don't hear you going through the motions here. I tell the listeners a lot of times, like when I believe something, when I listen to it, I believe what you're singing here. It doesn't sound phony to me at all.
Well, you're trying to communicate not only an idea, but you're trying to communicate an emotion. Mm-hmm. And these are emotions that everybody's been through. It's not unique to any one group of people. We've all had loss. We've all felt sadness and pain and heartache, and
sure.
That's when, I don't know about you, but those have been the times in my life when I found myself to be most creative in terms of songwriting.
I think most people, you look at a lot of my favorite bands, those first record or two, they had no money. They were living out of their van, and it's hard to have that perspective when all of a sudden your rent's paid every month on time, and you're not worried about your next loaf of bread. Some cool stuff here in chorus 1 that comes right at the 30-second mark. By the way, we're already at the chorus. Jenny says, each time that is said, it's several unison vocals. I stopped shy of calling it a gang vocal. It's more of a sing-along to me. I don't really get the gang vocal. I know live the crowd goes for it.
It turned into a gang vocal.
Yeah. And then the stereo guitars go to a more staccato strumming here along with the rest of the band that makes this part feel like a march. It's just driving.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, and in a live setting, a song like that, you don't even have to know the song. I've heard songs like that just hook you from the very first time you hear it. Mm-hmm. Then we get into post-chorus 1. The lyric is, let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. When the world is coming down on me, I let it go. The drums go to a more straight beat here, no longer doing the tom shuffle, and there's several voices again on the let it go. And then the last let it go, the band stops and we go into a 2-bar reintro, just guitar and that backwards effect again before we set up to verse 2.
I'll let it go. Got no reason for the things I say. She turned toward me, then she turned away. There's lots of forces in a modern world that take their toll upon a modern girl. I got no reason for the things I fear, the things that plague me when I see and hear. I'll press my finger on an itchy trigger. What once was small right now is so much bigger.
I got no reason for the things I say. She turned toward me, Then she turned away. There's lots of forces in a modern world that take their toll upon a modern girl. I got no reason for the things I fear, the things that plague me when I see and hear. I'll press my finger on an itchy trigger. What once was small, right now, is so much bigger. Some cool stuff in here. Really
Thank
cool.
you.
Some really cool stuff. Again, just guitar and vocals off the top. On the second line, Away, we get a double unison lead vocal. We get that single band hit. Dun. And then on Modern Girl, we get a double unison lead vocal. That guitar comes back in, and it's pretty much the same overall instrumentation from there as verse 1. We get a double vocal on Modern Girl, a double vocal on Itchy Trigger, and a double vocal on So Much Bigger. Also, from verse 1, the first two lines are in verse 2 here. I got no reason for the things I fear, the things that plague me when I see and hear. And we're going to see that lyric later. Why'd you put it back here in verse 2? It's really cool.
Once again, just my mindset, kind of connecting with the beginning of the story. I liked the line, and it was kind of something. It was along line. I've got no reason to have all this worry. I mean, besides the fact that this relationship is ending, I have all this worry in spite of the relationship ending, and there's no reason for it. It's just me saying, stop worrying. Like the chorus came along. What I remember when I was writing it, because it taken me so long to get to what you call in the outro chorus or the second chorus, whatever it is, to get to that point, because I wrote it in increments over a long period of time. Yeah, are you a Clash fan at all?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. The Clash first album, I was listening to a lot of, because I love them. And that song, Police and Thieves, that cover song they did on the first album, the line is from Genesis to Revelation, but Strummer sings it like, from Genesis to Revelation. I was like, I had a girl named Jenny. Jenny Says, oh, that's kind of cool. And I was very into like Velvet Underground, like Lou Reed, because he wrote a lot of songs like Stephanie Says, Lisa Says, Candy Says. He would use that as a way to put himself in other people's perspectives, to write about their experience instead of writing about it from his perspective, write about somebody else's experience. I thought that was interesting. Not that this song is about her perspective, but just the way that he used those titles. I like Says titles, and I was really into that at the time.
Now you got me thinking of Ramones, Danny
Yeah.
Says.
Danny
Jane's
Says,
Addiction,
yeah.
Jane
Yeah.
Says.
Jane Says, of course, yeah.
That's cool. I hadn't really thought about that here. Well, chorus 2, same overall instrumentation, lyrics, and melodies here as chorus 1, and the same thing all the way through post-chorus 2. After the I Let It Go this time, there's no stop, and the go lead vocal, it's just so rock and roll here, man. You just, it's got that... Yeah. When you do stuff like that in the studio, because that's kind of your signature thing, do you find yourself like the first take's usually the one, or because things like that, when you try to mimic it, that's when I get into trouble. When a producer or someone says, "Hey man, give me another scream," now I'm overthinking it.
Chris, yeah, that's the whole thing. I try not to think about it,
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like I try to get myself out of the way, whether I'm writing a song, whether I'm playing, or whether I'm, delivering a vocal. Like during a show, if I'm sitting there thinking of stuff I can do beforehand, then I know I'm going to screw it up. It has to happen in the moment. It has to be something that's presented to me kind of like that, like a slap. It's like that was the way that chorus came along. Because like I was saying, I'd worked so long and hard on the rest of the song that by the time the chorus came, it was just there. It was like, oh, there it is. Boom. Let it go,
Right.
let it go, let it go. And that was no effort whatsoever.
Bigger. Jenny says, turn off the radio. Jenny says, turn off the lights. Jenny says, turn off the video. You beat yourself up to bring yourself down. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. When the world is coming down on me, I'll let it go.
The funny thing about that song, you asked me why we played it, why I put it in so many albums, wasn't because of me. I mean, we put it on the Dash album, and then I left Dash for Prague and formed Cowboy Mouth. And John Griffith, the guitar player, one of the guitar players now, and an older guitar player, Paul Sanchez, who left the band in '06, they were the ones who insisted that we put it on the album. I was like, I don't want to play that old. It's an old song. I don't want to play that. And they're like, no, we need to play this song. And you know, they were right. So there you go.
I believe in the spirit of rock and roll, in the eternal strength of the immortal soul.
Hey, everybody, don't go anywhere. We got lots more coming up with Fred LeBlanc after a few words from our sponsors.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits, to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/demakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/demakes.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of ShopPay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
The McDonald's Snack Wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch Snack Wrap. Spicy Snack Wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack Wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Earn 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
The Red Hot Clearance event is on right now at Burlington, and I'm excited for the markdowns. It's all about savings on top of savings throughout the store. This is when I stock up on styles for my closet, home decor, and much more, because there's up to 70% off other retailers' prices on clearance. I mean, I'm going every day because these prices, too hot to miss. Burlington. Deals, brands, wow. Styles and selections may vary by location.
Hey everyone, Krista Makes here, and I've got some exciting news. Krista Makes a Podcast is now on Patreon. Your support is what keeps this show going, allowing us to bring you deep dives into amazing songs from incredible artists every week. When you join our Patreon at KristaMakes.com, you'll get instant access to hundreds of episodes of The After Party, our weekly bonus show where producer Chris Fafalius and I talk music history, trivia, tour stories, classic albums, and whatever else comes to mind. Plus, you'll get early ad-free episodes of Krista Makes a Podcast, unedited video versions of each episode, and, of course, a brand new episode of The After Party every single week. If our show brings you a little joy, help us keep it going strong for just a couple bucks a month at KristaMakes.com. Not ready to commit? No problem. You can sign up for a free membership while you decide. Thanks so much, everyone, and I hope to see you all at the after party.
And now, back to the show.
Certainly there were bands, again, I said this at the top, that were doing things in the 80s that were precursors to the 90s. But again, going back to 89, I don't think the world was ready for this song, even in 92. Yeah. I think, the 90s were an eclectic time. You could
it was very eclectic.
You could write a song about anything and possibly get signed. Case in point, Ween, one of the coolest, weirdest bands. But
who we played with,
I think the world just needed to catch up with where you were at, Fred. After post-chorus 2, after that rock and roll scream, we get an 8-bar guitar solo, full band rocking away, while a screaming guitar solo comes in. Sounds like maybe a little wah pedal you got on there. Yeah. And this dissolves into a 4-bar re-intro with the guitar and that backwards effect again in a full band. Dun! Before we get into verse 3... I do want to talk about this guitar solo just for a second. Admittedly, I didn't, look at them closely from the original Dash Rip version or the second version on 1992's Cowboy Mouth's Word of Mouth record. Is the solo basically the same? Do you recall?
No. Bill's approach was more like Blues Magoos. You ain't seen nothing yet. He did that, and it was a great solo. It really was nice. But Dash was a 3-piece band. So, there wasn't that sense of space because we were always trying to fill in space. Like being a drummer, I always played more in a 3-piece band than I do in a 4-piece band. It's like old REM. Like Bill Berry used to add a lot of like extra little beats and trinks and little tom things there because basically they were a 3-piece band, So, but with Cowboy Mouth, John Griffith, when he got to the solo, he just started playing this one note and just driving on that note. I thought, oh, that's really cool. It's a different approach. John's guitar playing, as far as lead goes, he can be flashy, but he doesn't always like to be. And sometimes he's very conscious of leaving space. And you can get away with that with a 4-piece or a 5-piece band. When the sound is covered, there's more places where you can actually leave space for effect instead of just trying to fill everything up,
Right. Okay, so after this guitar solo, you or before the guitar solo, you could have went into a departure or a bridge, but you don't. We go back to verse 3 here.
And I'm a big fan of bridges. I love bridges. I love bridges, but this song just didn't need one.
Yeah. I feel like you don't want to take a departure from this song. You're just driving right here kind of the whole time.
Yeah, you're just driving. It's the song tells you if you're smart enough to listen, the song will tell you where it needs to go,
Mm-hmm. You ever written a great song and written a great bridge part and they just don't work together and you're banging your head against the wall? I've done that before.
Oh, yeah, repeatedly.
And finally someone in the band goes, the bridge is great. The song's great, but they do not live together. So let's stop trying to fit the round peg in a square hole or whatever.
We put out a single about a year ago of a song called A Better Time, and it had this really nice long bridge that went into a completely different chord structure. And the song was mixed, the song was mastered, and I actually sent it to my old buddy who was the bass player in Dash back at the time. Said, what do you think about that? And he goes, it's great. You don't need the bridge. And I was like, son of a bitch, you're right. So I had to go through the whole process of remixing the song, editing it down, and he was right. It was right. And
I know
another Dash song, another Dash story. Bill had the song when he and I first started getting together and starting to kind of play songs together. He had this one song called Endeavor. It was like a beautiful song, wonderful song, but it had this bridge that went off into this different place. It took me a while to tell Bill, look, to convince him to say, no, you don't need this bridge. Take this bridge, move it out. The song's complete. And it's really one of his best songs, a song called Endeavor. And he took the old bridge from that song and wrote another song called The Old Bridge.
Hey, at least he got it. At least he got it repurposed.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Verse 3 comes out of that guitar solo.
Got no reason for the things I do. The dealer deals and then the dealer's screwed. You throw your cards upon a playing table. My name is Cain and I am now unable. I got no reason for the things I fear. The things that plague me when I see and hear. A dime's a nickel's none. I'll throw myself into the Sunday sun. Cain says,
I got no reason for the things I do. The dealer deals, and then the dealer's screwed. You throw your cards upon a playing table. My name is Cain, and I am now unable. I got no reason for the things I fear, the things that plague me when I see and hear. A dime's a nickel's none. I'll throw myself into the Sunday sun. And what I love about verse 3, the back half, is the first half of verse 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's so cool. You know, I've studied a lot of songs, Fred, and this one's, I think it's really cool where you took the lines from certain spots and put it. And I think verse 3 is my favorite out of the 3 verses.
Well, thank you. I really, I enjoy songs that go in circles, musically, lyrically. You know, I like it to be, it's kind of like a movie. You're asking the listener to join with you on this journey, and it has to go somewhere. But if the song is about a specific emotion or a specific millisecond where you were feeling a certain way, then you have to bring the listener along with you on that, but at the same time point out that it all ends up in the same place, and just kind of, you're beating your head against the wall. Let it go. Just let it go. Eventually, when the world comes down on you, really just let it go.
On the second line, we get that double unison lead vocal again on Screwed. We also get the band bump right there. My name is Cain and I am now unable. The unable is what I'm calling a true gang vocal. It's pan left and right.
Oh.
It's big.
Well, people do that live. I haven't sung Unable in about 20 years.
That's awesome. And then
that's great. It's wonderful.
From that line, my name is Cain and I am now unable, all the way until I'll throw myself into the Sunday sun. All of those are double unison vocals all the way through. Right around that time, too, the drums go back to the tom shuffle and the band comes back in. But this time, there's a guitar soloing underneath the back half of verse 3. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's
Thank
cool.
you.
And again, that reminds me of what you would do live. The guitar
definitely.
player, he's gonna build the song there and get into make verse 3 stand out from the other 2 verses. From there, we go right in to chorus 3.
Janie says, turn off the radio. Janie says, turn off the lights. Janie says, turn off the video. You beat yourself up 'cause you love it. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. When the world is coming down on me, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. When the world is coming down on me, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go,
We get a lyrical change here, though, on "You beat yourself up because you love it." Where'd that come from?
It's truth. It was realizing, okay, maybe treating myself shitty. Maybe it's kind of like realizing that perhaps you put yourself in this position. You couldn't really play victim. I went through this process around 12 or 13 where I just went through the whole panorama of my life and just tried to figure out why I was where I was at the time, physically, mentally, emotionally. And it took me a couple of years to do this. And I just did it myself, where I went through all the decisions I'd ever made. And the only caveat that I would allow myself is that I wouldn't let myself play victim. I wouldn't let myself, oh, this person did this to me or that person did this to me. Simply because I'm an adult, I'm a grown ass man. And it was like, okay, and if you don't figure out why you do things you do, and if you don't have some self-knowledge, then I would continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's just part of growing up. But, being in a rock band, especially a traveling rock band, my life was so extreme and so nuts for so long, that, it's like all of a sudden when we stopped touring all the time, it was like, okay, now, all right, wait, what's going on?
Yeah, who am I?
I jumped in a van like 25 years before, and well, what the hell is going on? Yeah, who am I, basically?
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like that, that line at the end, it was kind of realizations like, okay, well, I can't blame this person. I can't sit there and cry and go, boo-hoo, poor me, because on some level, I made this happen,
Right, right. Well, I love that line too because you love it. It's really overemphasized, that lyric. It's really you really dig in there, and then we go into a post-chorus 3, which is basically like 2.5 post-choruses here. Let it go, 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 let it go. When the world is coming down on me, I let it go. Then we get the let it goes again. When the world is coming down on me, I let it go. And then let it go, I let it go. And then the let it go, I let it go. And 2 more let it goes. And all those back half let it goes are gang vocals. And then we get a yeah with the little guitar riff there at the very end. The whole band ends and you go, Was that part of the recording? Was that just you doing it at the end that wound up in the mix? Was it supposed to be there?
It was just one of those moment things.
Yeah.
You just like, part of the joy of like singing, in a studio is that, you get to hear all the effects and you get to hear how big your voice gets to sound through these great mics and these wonderful preamps and compressors, you sound, just, it's a pretty heady feeling. So like at the end of it, the drums come in like, I was probably just imitating the drums, just boom,
I love that. So one last thing before we break. So you recorded this song for what's at least the 4th time. The 2 original versions, the live version, now you record it. What was it like getting, after all these years, a song you wrote in '89, you were just a kid, and all of a sudden this thing's on the radio. You're getting your shot with one of the first songs that you really wrote.
Yeah. I didn't really think about it in terms like that. I got tired of being told by management and record labels that I needed to write, quote, another Jenny Says, unquote, because I just wasn't that guy anymore, But,
that'd be
at
tough.
the same time, it's, I've always been proud of it. I mean, in and of itself, it's a really good song. It still stands the test of time. It's like our musical money shot.
Yeah.
It's usually the last song we play every night. It's kind of the song that everything leads up to in the show. So I've always been proud of it. It's a well-written song, and the lyrics are interesting enough to kind of take you on a journey. And I love those rousing, soccer stadium choruses.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's something I'm proud of. It's something I'm still continually proud of. I've never gotten tired of playing it.
Yeah.
It's like you meet some bands, the singer will be like, oh, I'm so tired of playing my hit song that millions of people want to hear. I'm like, hell no, let's play it twice.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a great attitude. I'm so glad that you said that. I've often thought of that.
Well, I mean, Chris, playing music, it's service industry. Even Mick Jagger has to sell beer.
That's such a great point. I never thought of it in those terms, but
it's service industry. It's service industry.
It is. Would you like fries with that? Well, hey, we're not that far off. Listen, before we break, is there anything going on with you, Fred, or Cowboy Mouth you'd like to plug?
We have a new album coming out in the middle of August. It's called Cowboy Mouth, Cover Your Ass. And it's called that because it's an album full of cover songs. Speaking of like old line punk rock, we did like a rockabilly punk version of Frank Sinatra's My Way. We did like a rockin' version of The Replacements' Can't Hardly Wait. We did Fats Domino's I'm Gonna Be a Wheel Someday. Crystal Gale, Rodney Crowell, Till I Gain Control. Ian Hunter, Just Another Night. Our first single just came out. It's like a bluegrass version of Fat Bottom Girls by Queen, and it's just all over the place. I never thought we'd make another album because I thought it was going to be singles, but John called me one day because he wanted to. Oh, another song, The Who's "Real Me," and we do like a real punk kind of version.
What a great song!
It's a great song, but when most people think of The Who, they don't really think of that one. It's not on like the 10 best compilations.
Right,
when it's like 10 songs, Always Won't Get Fooled Again, Baba O'Reilly, which are great songs, of course. But
Pinball Wizard, you get all the
Pinball Wizard, My Generation, all great stuff. But The Real Me is like that was that whole Quadrophenia album when I was a kid was just mind bending. To like an 11-year-old wondering who the hell you are, and so we did a version of that. And John and I were on the phone. He's like, "Dude, we ought to do a cover album." I was like, "It wasn't much as much as why not." Be fun. And these days I'm sure you guys have the same thing. If it's not fun, why do it?
That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. Well, listen, have a great rest of your day. I really appreciate you taking the time for us.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. This is I rarely get other people to sing my lyrics back at me. It's good to know that they weren't too bad.
Nah, not too bad at all.
You're gonna take me home tonight. Down beside that red light. We gonna let it all hang out. That bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Fred. What a cool and funny guy. I can't wait to talk to Chris about this in the wrap that's coming right up after a few words from our sponsors, so don't go anywhere.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream house or ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Rated T for teen.
Each year, thousands of adults lose their shred. It's an epidemic simply known as shred loss. But it doesn't have to be this way, because rekindling your shred is as easy as playing the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. With new parks, cross-platform multiplayer, and sick new game modes, we can put an end to shred loss everywhere. Get the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 and show the world that the shred's not dead. Get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 available now.
Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 110,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 16th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends 7/16/25.
Hey friends, have you been loving Krista Makes a Podcast? Well, spread the love by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't hesitate to share what you enjoy about the show in an actual written review on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it help more people discover us, but we often read reviews in the wrap segment of the show. It's a quick, cost-free way to support us and takes just a minute of your time. Your reviews mean the world to us and help us keep the podcast thriving. Thank you for being a listener, and thank you for being a friend.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Krista Makes a Podcast, email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumightnotknow@gmail.com. This week's featured artist is Hacienda Gardeners, a San Diego-based electronic rock project headed by Nate Pisano. The band blends industrial, post-rock, and alternative influences. Cool stuff. Here's a snippet of their song, Missing the Mark.
I got nowhere to go, I'm running out of time. I don't wanna wander and get stuck in the snow. In the depths of despair, I don't want to go. Oh,
Les and Chris.
So, Chris, I really enjoyed that episode. Listeners should know that Fred had a hard out because I think he said his kid had a doctor's appointment he had to take him to. That meant there were certain things you couldn't get into, but you and I are going to get into a few of those things. One of those things being that Fred is a vocalist drummer. That's like a rare thing where he is the lead singer, but also the drummer. Now, we did have a band, we had a member of a band on here before where that was the case, the band Jellyfish. They had a vocalist drummer. Phil Collins, to a certain extent, was a vocalist drummer. Don Henley, to a certain extent, was that. But it is a rare thing that I think is worth noting.
It is. And imagine, there's guys in bands that want to be the front person, but they're relegated to a backing vocal role. They're just not the guy. Imagine now being stuffed behind a drum set. You want to be the lead guy so bad. I'm not saying that's what Fred wants, but Fred's what I call a lifer, man. This guy's been doing it forever. Yeah. The fact that he was part of Dash Rip Rock. I mean, they were, Southern United States legends. New Orleans, they were all over the college scene. Of course, Les and Jake got to play with them. Fred was already out of the band then, but then he went on to start Cowboy Mouth, and I had no idea. I pride myself on knowing some things, Chris. I had no idea he formed Cowboy Mouth, which is awesome.
Cowboy Mouth is very much a New Orleans institution. And I learned a lot about this, Chris, because we actually did a One Hit Thunder episode about this song. And I wasn't familiar with this song, but man, did I learn a lot about the band and how important they are to New Orleans. One of the things I had sent you in the notes, I don't know if you watched it, was, I don't know what year this was from, early 2000s, but when Cowboy Mouth played on Regis and Kelly, when they did like episodes in New Orleans, how funny it was that he wrote a song like about Kelly Ripa on the spot on the episode. And you really saw like the love that New Orleans has for this band. Like they really embody the spirit of that city.
Yeah. And I'll say it again. And I kind of tiptoe around things like this. You don't want to say the wrong thing like, wow, you spawned the grunge movement. But this song was so ahead of its time. This song does not sound like an 80s song to me. And the bands I had mentioned that came after them. I mean, I hear Volbeat, I hear Queens of the Stone Age in Fred's vocal delivery for sure. The shuffle beats in here. It's just that march. That's a very Queens type thing. And it was also refreshing to Chris to hear Fred say that, it was one of my songs. People wanted me to keep recording it. I wasn't bummed out about it, whatever. And then he was hearing it on the radio. What was that like? Were you like, hey, world, you finally caught up? And he seemed kind of unfazed by it.
Two things. It's funny because it feels like a situation. We've talked about this with songs from our own bands that people relate to. It seems like when he wrote this song, he was still relying on those young songwriting instincts where you just go with what comes natural, but that's something that you can't intentionally recreate years later. And I think it's part of like why labels and people were insisting that they stick with this song, and see it out because people love it. They saw people love it in the live setting and they saw that it was a fan favorite. And also, Chris, it's funny the story he told about trying to play Rain on the Scarecrow by Mellencamp, when he was writing this song, because when did we hear that story before? We heard that story before with Mark Hoppus because he was trying to play Green Day, the JAR song, and he accidentally played it wrong and turned that into a song. Well, that's what Fred did here, too. It's funny that we heard that again.
Yeah, you never know when inspiration is going to strike. And, something else we briefly talked about, producer Mike Wanchik, but, I hats off to him for not changing the song. Again, you go listen to Dash Rip's version 89, the first Cowboy Mouth version 92, and the one we all know from 96. They're identical, save for the guitar solo, which again, I didn't study those exactly, but according to Fred, the guitar solo is different, but everything else is the same. I love stories like this. I love that this was just a song, and then of course you got the label suits now Hawkeyeing after Fred saying, well, write another one. It's like, well, I wrote that when I was a kid, and you can't just write a song on a whim. Very few bands have ever had success trying to do that.
And with their story, Chris, it reminds me of your story with Les and Jake in a lot of ways. It's like you got to a point where you you could still care about it, but you don't even have to rely on thinking about like, we got to write this single that goes to radio and becomes a big hit. You have a cult following. You've created your own world. You know, like you can go out and be successful, and you're more successful than ever with your band. Just like he's a lifer, just like you. And you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. You don't have to be subject to that kind of stuff if you don't want to be. Not saying that you can't be, but if you don't want to be, you don't have to rely on that kind of stuff.
And that's a great point, Chris. And I like to think that we've established our own cult following here at Krista Makes a Podcast. And if you need more of Chris and I, head over to KristaMakes.com and join our Patreon. You help us keep things moving full steam ahead here at Krista Makes a Podcast, and your support is very much appreciated.
That's right. You know, we have a giant back catalog of episodes of The After Party, which is our bonus episode that we release every Monday. Some people use it as the pre-party. They listen to that first before they listen to that week's episode of Krista Makes a Podcast. That's fine with us. But KristaMakes.com, you can go there, and there's different levels and tiers. And the most important thing about everything is that your support allows us to continue making the show. So thank you. If you haven't checked it out, you can even sign up as a free member and see what it's all about at KristaMakes.com. And also, importantly, if you like our show, it doesn't cost a dang thing. Leave us those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
That's right. A review takes 2 seconds, and you can join all the other wonderful reviews that have left us 5 stars. Who we got today, Chris?
This week's review is from someone named Jaddy Moans. Jaddy Moans gave us...
Jaddy Moans, all right.
Jaddy Moans left us 5 stars, and the title of their review is A Lot of Great Ideas for Your Own Songwriting, and this is what Jaddy had to say. A while back, my buddy and bass player in my band told me I should check out this podcast because it's full of great information on writing great songs. I was a little hurt. Like he was suggesting I learned to write good songs. I've been writing songs for 20 years, and I thought I've been pretty good at it for the last 2. Finally decided to check out the Mark Hoppus episode because Blink is my favorite band. I'll be an SOB if I didn't get hooked. Not only is it fun to hear about how some great songs are written, I also like hearing about the little things in the production of the song that you never really think about. We're preparing to record a full length that will be a DIY production, and I'll definitely be thinking about some of the tricks I've picked up from this podcast.
Well, that's awesome. We have another spoonerism this week. I believe the fella's name is Matty Jones, not Jaddy Moans.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. People love doing that.
That's what I'm going for here, Matty Jones. You're trying to hide your name. You're not Jaddy Moans. You're Matty Jones. You can't fool an old spoonerist. That's not even a word properly.
A spoonerist, yeah, a person who switches the first letter of everything in life.
Crispa Makes a Dodcast. All right, everybody. Want to thank this week's guest, Fred LeBlanc, for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week.
Hey, I'm Chris Fafalius, producer of Krista Makes a Podcast, and also host of One Hit Thunder. Each week on the One Hit Thunder podcast, we take a look into a one-hit wonder band or artist to determine if they deserved more success or if they were lucky to even have a hit at all. We've covered When in Rome, Jaquan, Shanice, Yellow, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Jesus Jones, Positive K, Mazzy Star, and hundreds more. With new episodes every Wednesday and special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we always have nonstop fun, and maybe, if we're lucky, we discover some new favorite music. So if you love great songs and you often find yourself asking, whatever happened to that band? Check out One Hit Thunder wherever you get your podcasts.